Okay. All right. So today we are joined by Crystal from Fratella
Fratello. Yeah.
Cigars. Welcome.
Hi.
Um, okay, so tell me a little bit about yourself.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, I started working in the cigar industry October 2022. So I'm very new to
Oh,
working in the cigar industry,
okay.
but I've been smoking cigars for 11 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So I started smoking because my ex-boyfriend worked at a cigar lounge in Jessup, Maryland,
Mhm.
the entire time we were together. And we were together for 8 years.
Oh,
And
wow.
like thought about smoking cigars, and he was like, come on, just give it a try. And I was like, okay. So I enjoyed it because that was our thing to do, and then
Mhm.
at the beginning of the pandemic I left, and I started like kind of going to different lounges in DC. I went back home to the city because that's where
Mhm.
I'm from. And
From DC? You're from
yeah,
DC? Okay.
yeah, I was born in Southeast. So I moved to the city, and I started going to the lounges there, and then I met the owner of Fratello, and Omar. And I didn't know who he was at first.
Mhm.
He's a very humble person, and he doesn't like to brag about it.
Mhm.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, these are my cigars." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I had no idea.
Wow. So
Yeah,
was he there doing an event
no,
or he was just
he
there smoking?
he was just there smoking, and so I we connected that way, and that was what, 2-3 years ago.
Mhm.
And then he gave me some of them to smoke, and I was like, oh, these are really good. So I started like when I was going out with my friends to hang out, we were going to we always go to Casa de Monte Cristo,
Okay.
and they don't carry the cigars there, and so I would always bring them, and like I would be handing out Fratello cigars. And my friends are like, oh, these are really good.
Mhm.
And so like they got, they started buying the cigars at other places, and stuff like that. And then recently in October, I got laid off from working in my other job, and
Mhm.
Omar and I were supposed to connect about just me doing events for him since I love the cigars so much. He
Mhm.
was like, I need somebody to do events. And then when he found out I got laid off, he's like, why don't you just come work for me full time? And I said, sign me up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is okay. That is the best story ever.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so one, you didn't smoke cigars. So, okay, so what was the very first cigar that you smoked?
It was like a Romeo and Julieta. I can't remember which one it was, but it was really light because
Hmm.
my ex was like, "Oh, this is a really good like starter stick." He never like put me on to like any of the sweet stuff, which I know a lot of people, they kind of like dip their toe into the sweet stuff, and that's kind of like their like transition.
Right.
But like for me, it was just a really light just like Connecticut, I believe. I'm not sure exactly which one it was because it was 11 years ago, but
Hmm.
yeah.
That you know what, and I'm so glad you said that because a lot of people when they start smoking cigars, they always start with sweet.
Yep.
And I tell people when people ask me, "Well, I'm new to cigar smoking. What sweet cigar would you recommend?"
Yeah.
Now, when someone introduced me to it, they gave me a Groovy Blue, right?
Okay.
I am now telling people, I tell people to go with either a Monte Cristo white series because
Mm,
it's mild and
yep.
creamy. Try to get them into I don't want to use the word real cigar, but not sweet cigar because
Right.
I find that when you start with a sweet cigar, you stay with a sweet cigar. Most
Yes.
people that are smoking the sweet cigars, that's where they started.
Yep.
So even though
Exactly.
I started sweet, I'm now in the medium to full body cigars. Now I do love
Yeah.
a full cigar every now and again, but most of mine is medium to full body because I had a my father's, I believe it was a pink label one. Boy, I had to take a 2 hour nap after I had that one. I was like, "Ooh, okay."
They knock you out sometimes. I am a full body girl, like all the most of the time. Like it's like all the way. I want all that flavor. I want to taste every single like thing. And I mean, like the one cigar that I smoke pretty much every day is our Fratello Arlequin.
Okay.
And it's I mean, it's not a full body, it's a medium,
Mhm.
but like the flavor profile on that cigar, it's a box press. And I usually get the Robusto size because it's like
Mhm.
the perfect, you know, size. It's not too long, not too short.
Mhm.
To me, it reminds me of Christmas because of the
Oh.
flavors that I pull out. Like, you know, you got cinnamon, and then there's like hints of like nutmeg and graham cracker in there. And it's just like a nice, like, it's like a perfect
Mhm.
everyday stick. If
Wow.
I, yeah.
I
So
need that one then.
I have to get you,
Is
I have to
is
get
that the one that I see you post about the most?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I love it. See, I smoke a cigar first thing in the morning. So I love a good
Yes.
morning stick. So
Oh yeah.
I'm all about it. First thing in the morning with coffee. Oh yeah.
Yes, I know. Sign me up. You
Yeah.
know what? We have this one. It's a camo sweet. And it's not okay. So the entire cigar is not sweet. It's a Connecticut cigar. It's just the tip. And so it is a nice like addition to your morning routine,
Mm-hmm.
especially with coffee.
Ooh.
Yeah, that one's really good too. I at
Okay.
first when I like, because I'm not a sweet cigar person, like I have
Mm-hmm.
to really be in the mood for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so at first I was like kind of hesitant, but when I smoked it, I was like, oh, this is like, sign me up.
Okay, so let's talk about, okay, so you got this job in October. So did you know exactly what he would want you to do when you started, or has it been that you've been learning as you go along?
Oh, I've been learning a lot of things as I go along. I mean, because we're such a small business, right? So like you gotta be flexible,
Hmm.
especially in small business. I used to be a small business owner. You know, I had my own little like franchise that with some business partners, and you just have to learn how to be flexible, especially when there's like very like we only have what 5 employees.
Hmm.
I'm the only sales person.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, you know, my territory was originally just DC, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, and
Hmm.
now it has expanded. So now I also have Pennsylvania, New York, New
Oh.
Jersey, Connecticut. So, and then we have like some inside accounts, like, so those are like a lot of phone calls to other states, and stuff like that. Eventually,
Hmm.
I'll be expanding and traveling to more.
Hmm.
But right now, it's just a matter of like, you know, being flexible and learning how to like do the sales. Cause like I come from sales, but like doing cigar sales, totally different. Cigar
Right.
industry is a relationship based industry. It's
Right.
about building the connection before even like, you know, going in for the kill, if that
Right.
makes
So how do you, because now you are the salesperson for that, how do you even begin to say, okay, I'm going to Connecticut? This like, do you decide, or does he decide, I want you to go to Connecticut and see what you can do in Connecticut, or do you do research before you even go?
I do my research. So basically, at the beginning of the year, so each quarter, I create what's called a route. And so every week is planned week by week by week where I'm going to be.
Hmm.
And then when I'm like, okay, so I'm going to Richmond this week, then I have to look up all the cigar shops in Richmond. Omar created this like really cool interactive Google map with
Hmm.
all these little pinpoints on it of like cigar shops. And then there's like a master list. So I take that list and I kind of like dive into that location and I look at all the shops, either their current retailers that carry our cigars, they either had a former relationship or they've never carried our cigars. So
Hmm.
that I kind of like do the research on each one of those places, and
Hmm.
then I reach out and I try to set an appointment. And if I can't get an appointment, that's not a problem. I'm still going to show up.
Okay.
And because you know, in sales, you gotta like get the sale however you can.
Right,
So
right.
Yeah, so I try to make as many appointments as possible, and then like I do stop into the ones that I was not able to make an appointment at.
So when you go, is it with the intent purpose of meeting the owner or the person in charge of their stock and having a cigar with them, or just going in, dropping off cigar and saying, I'll get back with you once you smoke it?
Yeah, it depends. The whole thing about dropping off and then leaving, it doesn't work as well as like sitting there and smoking with them, because when you're sitting there and smoking with somebody, you're creating that connection. You're
Mhm,
talking about like their life and learning more about the shop and like what cigars do well, and what they're looking to achieve and those
mhm,
sorts of things, and all of their history, right? And even the individual, like what their life story and that sort of thing. So, like, creating that connection is a lot better than just like dropping them off, which is why making appointments is so critical, because having those appointments and they've set aside that time for you. So,
mhm.
hopefully, they are going to smoke with you,
Okay.
and not just like have you drop on your stick, because then I have to like do a ton of follow up at that point, because then you're like, did you smoke it? Sometimes these people, if you just drop it off, they're not going to smoke it. And
Mhm.
so they end up like handing it off to other people. And I'm like, listen, I gave this to you so that way I could,
Right. Right. So now you clearly you smoke cigars. So are most of your friends cigar smokers?
no. No, I mean, I have my cigar smoking friends, and then I have my non-cigar smoking friends.
Okay.
No one in my family smokes cigars either. And it's
Really?
yeah, so it's really funny. They were like, we never even imagined you working in the cigar industry, but you go, girl. And then like my cigar smoking friends, I never have to like message them or be like, where are you at or whatever. I already know where they're gonna be every single day at what time, and I can just show up and they're there.
Right.
And then my other friends, they kind of tolerate it. They support me. They'll go to the lounge, but they won't smoke. So yeah.
Do you find that your friends that don't smoke cigars, when they go to the lounge with you, do you find that they're ready to go after about like 5 minutes, and then you're like, but I just lit the cigar. Like, what are you doing?
No, you know what? It's so funny. I used to think I used to be hesitant to like invite them.
Mhm.
But I'm like, look, this is what I'm doing. Okay. So like if you're either in or you're out. So we'll go and they like hang out and they have a good time, and they're talking to people, having drinks and that
Mhm.
sort of thing. So yeah, they're really like just chill about it, which is really nice.
That's good. So how, when you're doing, like you said, you're out of town now, and so when you start your sales traveling, how long are you normally or typically gone for?
Usually like 3 or 4 days. And then I come back. Like
Mhm.
Monday is usually like my planning day, where I'm at home and I'm like making the phone calls to set appointments and all of that. And
Mhm.
then Tuesday through Friday, depending on how many appointments I have set, those are usually the days that I'm gone.
Mhm.
So I'm back on the weekend.
Oh, that's great that you can be home for the weekends. So
Yeah, yeah.
typically, how many cigar lounges do you meet with in a typical day?
That depends, because it depends on like how long each appointment is.
Mhm.
I usually try to set aside 2 hours at each place.
Mhm.
Sometimes it takes longer,
Okay.
depending on how the conversation goes and all of that. But if it's like if it's a former account, I don't have to spend as much time because they already know about our cigars. If
Okay.
it's a newer account, I spend a little bit more time because like I'm trying to build that relationship and the trust.
Mhm.
And then if it's a current retailer, I usually like pop in, and talk to them about like their current product, what's moving well, and those are usually a lot shorter depending
Okay.
on, if they want to smoke with me or not. Sometimes they're
Right.
like, oh, come on, sit down, have a smoke.
So which one of the Fratello cigars is your best seller?
Oh, we have like three of
Mhm.
our best sellers, which are the three like original, like blends that were created, so we have our Classico, which was created when the company started 10 years ago.
Okay.
And that one is going to be like a medium to full bodied cigar.
Mhm.
It's got a nice Nicaraguan wrapper on it. So it's got this like beautiful, like deep brown color, and then it's got a little red band around it. The Oro, which is our Connecticut, is
Mhm.
so interesting. It is a different style. I say that because like when you taste it, it does not, it's creamy like a regular Connecticut,
Mhm.
but because of the Cameroon tobacco, which is like the most expensive tobacco you can find,
Mhm.
it's going to give you a different flavor profile. So there is a little bit of a spice to it,
Okay.
but not too much. It's still light.
Mhm.
And then our Bianco, which is our Maduro. That one is going to, it has that Mexican wrapper on it. It's really dark and deep, and it has like bold flavors of like chocolates. It's like a chocolate like flavor bomb.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are our three top sellers. Um,
Mhm.
Me personally, I always push the Arlequin. I'm like, listen, you can't go without this one. So just because I said so. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. So speaking of being a salesperson for a cigar in the cigar industry, do you run into a lot of people that just assume that because you're a woman, you don't really know how to sell and pitch your cigars? Like, do you feel like resistance when they first meet you? Like, oh, she's just here to drop them off. She don't, she got on a cute little outfit and she got all dutied up to come here, but we ain't really. She don't know what she's talking about.
I start flipping my hair and no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, sometimes yes, there's always like this preconceived like notion about like women in the industry. Oh, she must not be a smoker. She's just doing sales.
Mhm.
So I did have an experience. Okay. I go into this retailer. I'm not
Mhm.
gonna name who it is or anything like that. But they were very standoffish and they were like, listen, we're good. I'm friends with Omar. You don't need to like worry. Like, we're good. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, it was just very like, didn't really want to talk. And I was just like,
Right.
oh. But then later, come to find out, like, he'd been burned because he had like experienced something bad with another like female rep. And I was like,
Okay.
well, that's not me.
Right.
So
Right.
I was like,
Right.
I'm a smoker. I know what I'm talking about. Let's, talk about these cigars.
Exactly. Exactly. And that I find that is very hard to overcome if someone has had a bad experience with especially and not to be negative toward female reps, but
Yeah.
if you have a bad experience with a female rep, it's like, uh-oh, here comes another one. Just like you do when you have a bad experience with a boyfriend and be like, oh, the next one's gonna do the same
There we
thing.
go
So
again.
exactly.
Oh,
So because you do this on a routine basis, because you're out there so much, um how is it when you go to like TPE? You were just there, so how is that different than going out individually by yourself?
yeah. So it's nice when you do these big events because everyone is there and you don't have to like go to all these different locations to
Mm-hmm.
like meet with people, right? Everyone is there and
Mm-hmm.
they're all there for the same collective experience, right? And they're
Okay.
there to buy sticks.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to stand out, right?
Right.
So it's like but not, and also it's like not being afraid to go talk to somebody that you don't know, or like connecting with other salespeople to connect you with those other people. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I did when I was in Vegas, because like I'm so new to the industry, I didn't know anybody. Okay.
Okay.
And I was like, I said to Omar, I was like, so he's like, go do your thing. And I was like, go do my thing. I don't know anybody, you know, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go do my thing. I met some
Mhm.
other sales reps. They were introducing me to other shop owners. I
Okay.
like, and that's how I was doing business. Like after the show each day,
Mhm.
I was going to the bar downstairs in the hotel and I was just talking to people so that way I could connect and do the business.
Mhm.
Otherwise, and that's kind of similar to going into a location, but you're only dealing with one person at a time versus
Right.
like everybody being there at one time.
Right. So how was it the very first time, like you got hired in October? How was it the very first time Omar said, "Okay, this is what I want you to do"?
I was nervous. I'm always nervous when I do something new, but I was
Mhm.
like, listen, you got this. You're a sales girl. You've been in sales like for a long time. Like I've done road shows where I got a new product every single week and I would have to go in and just like kill it in a Costco.
Mhm.
I don't work for Costco, but and so
Right.
like I was like, listen, you've done all of the things. You can do this. It's just cigars. I
Mhm.
mean, like it's literally, and so I was really nervous, but I crushed it. I just went in, I like took a deep breath. I was like, okay, you can do it. And it was fine.
So do you tell Omar, like when you look at your schedule or the list on Monday, do you tell Omar, okay, here's where I'm going to go this week? Or does he have a list that he says, here's what I want you to do this week? Or are you able to make your own schedule?
Yeah, I make my own and then I share it with him to let him know like, hey, this is what's going on this week. These are the appointments I have set. And then he'll give me some feedback as far as like who he knows at these shops if he
Okay.
already knows them, what the experience is like, or like oh, don't waste your time with this one because of X, Y, and Z. So he's really good about like being on top of me, like knowing where I'm going.
Mhm.
So that way we can follow up after the week.
Oh, so speaking of following up, so after you leave them, is it when you leave, do you have the commitment when you leave, or do you have to follow up to say, okay, so now that we met and we talked, what are you going to carry Fratello in your shops?
So sometimes it's an immediate sale. Other times it's like I need to follow up. They're like, hey, give me like 2 weeks, follow up with me on such and such date. So I
Mhm.
make sure that I one get their cell phone number, get a good email address, and then I follow up. As soon as I leave, I'll send a quick text. Thank you so much for your time. And then like I'll follow up with an email to say, hey, this is what we talked about. And then I'll also forward along any like paperwork that I give them physically because
Mhm.
sometimes people lose stuff and all
Right.
of that. So that way they have it. And then I can, follow up again.
So when you're out and you're, meeting all these people, do you find that your palate gets tired from having so many cigars?
Yeah, I mean, after the third one, I'm like, man, I don't know if I can smoke another one. Sometimes I have like 5 cigars a day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because of how many people want to smoke and all of that kind of stuff. It's not a big deal, but it's like after that point, it's like I really need to cleanse my palate to like get it like back in gear.
For the next day.
Yeah,
So how do you do
exactly.
that? How do you clean your palate after you done had 5 cigars in a day? Do you
Yeah.
have a routine that you do?
Not really. It depends on what I'm drinking. Sometimes I'm not having like alcohol or anything like that. Sometimes it's like coffee, sometimes it's water. So, but like I'll brush my teeth. And then there's also a bunch of like these guys that have been in the industry for a long time. They like recommend these lozenges like
Hmm.
to like use or like candy or whatever.
Hmm.
So it really just depends.
Okay. So when you look ahead for, let's say, next quarter, what is it that your end goal is when you look from quarter to quarter,
Yeah.
with Fratello?
Yeah, so obviously we want growth. And Omar has set some high standards for my goals, which are very achievable.
Hmm.
So each quarter he has like set like specific number of new accounts that I should be achieving, and also the sales goal for each of my current accounts
Hmm.
that I should be like looking to achieve. And so I take those numbers and I break them down like on a a doable like scale. So it's like, okay, so if I need this number by the end of this quarter, then I break it down day by day. So then I'm like, okay, I need this amount of sales each day in order to get to my goal. And if I don't get it, then I need to make it up somehow by the end of the year.
Okay. So speaking of goals, so like do you have a number in mind that you think, and then when you go to look at your numbers on making your goal or whatever, are you following up? Are you having to keep track of all of the sales that the different cigar lounges are, buying or keeping in stock?
Yeah, so we have a CRM system and it keeps track of their year-to-date sales. But I also have like an Excel spreadsheet that I keep to say, okay, this is what they've done year to date. This is the goal for them. So I am I'm this percentage towards my goal.
Okay.
Um, and so like the next time that I meet with them and stop into their shop, then my goal would be to obviously get another sale and increase that. I also do that through events as well. So like every time that we do events, they do an event order. And so that also increases. And yeah.
Got you. So do you do a lot of events? Like, do you do a lot of cutting lights or just, Fratello events at your different cigar shops? And how often do you set those up with the cigar owners?
Yeah. So Omar likes me to do 4 events a month, which is sometimes it's a challenge because of I'm on the road.
Mm-hmm.
But what I've learned to do is to like, okay, so this week I have this event, so then I need to be in this area during this week. So that way when this event comes at the end of the week, then I'm in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I mean it really just depends on the month. But usually I try to do at least 4 events a month, which is like once a week. And it's like cut and light, or it's like a big event where we're, doing massive sales. And my events, they start like full force next month. So I have like a ton of events on the schedule.
So what is your favorite, when you get home here in the DC area, what is your favorite lounge to go to? Or do you have like a home lounge?
Yeah, I go to Casa de Monte Cristo all the time, or TG Cigar. So you can find me definitely at Casa a lot. And but if I'm not tired, then I'm there a couple nights a week. But if I'm tired, it's only once a week.
Mhm.
And just because I like don't have the energy to like interact with so many people, and then I create my own lounge on my rooftop of my building, and I'm like,
I
I'm
want to
just
say, so do you find it enjoyable to be at home in your own space, smoking cigars? And do you have like little smoke sessions at home with your friends? If you don't feel like going out, you say, you know what, I don't feel like going out, but y'all come on over, bring a bottle of wine with
Yep, yep. And so because I have a really big rooftop, I'm like, y'all can come here, but I'm not coming out, because they'll hit me up and they'll be like, girl, where are you at? We haven't seen you.
you.
I'm
Uh-huh.
like, I am at home having a cigar on my rooftop. Y'all are more than welcome to come here. I got plenty of, tequila, wine, y'all can come here, but I am
Right.
not coming out.
So where are you going to be? You're out of town now. So where are you right now?
I'm in Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So Pittsburgh people, you need to be looking out for Miss Crystal. So do you have appointments set today? Well, what is today? Today is Thursday. See, I'm
Today's
retired, so I
Thursday.
don't know. So I'm about to start doing what you're doing. So it's like, oh, I gotta get out of the retirement frame of mind. And
Okay.
even though to me, it's not in the cigar world, it's not like a real 9 to 5 job. I don't want to say real job. It is a real job, but
It
is it
doesn't
more
feel
enjoyable?
Yes.
Yeah,
I don't feel like I'm working ever.
exactly. Exactly.
I'm like
So,
out here having fun.
yeah, right. Because I mean, what other job do you get to smoke on the job? I mean,
Yeah. Where do you
and drink.
right? Where do you be working?
So you're in Pittsburgh now. And then tomorrow you head home, or tomorrow you're in somewhere different?
I am so I have to check out of my hotel tomorrow.
Okay.
So I'll be going home later tomorrow in the
Mhm.
day. But yeah, I was here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
So do
and
you drive? You drive to these places? Phew. See, that's the only thing. I hate driving. I need a driver. See, I say I need two things. I need a driver and a maid. Those are two things I need in my life.
Mhm.
Even though I'm retired and could do it, I just don't feel like it.
Right, exactly.
You for sitting down with me today. I found out so much information. And here's a good thing. I got a Stogie bird box and it had a Fratello in it.
Oh, nice. I was like, I need to send her some cigars because I've been on the road and I was like, dang it, I didn't even get this stuff in the mail. So don't worry.
So, yeah, I listen. I whenever you're here, I listen. I don't. Here's the thing. I don't go to DC a lot because of all these different parking signs, and I just hate it. And then the valet. See, if it got a garage, I'm golden. But
Yeah.
the garage is closed, so if
Mhm.
I can come to DC early, but when the garage closed, I gotta
Right.
leave.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Gotta go home.
Home, or I'm sleeping on the rooftop.
Yeah.
So tell everybody where they can find you online.
Oh, online. You can find me on Instagram at Crystal's Cigars, and it's with two S's on both sides, and it's spelled
You know
Crystalss.
what? And now that you say that, because I had to look at that today, because I kept saying that I know I've talked to her, but why can't I find it? I was only putting one S.
Yeah. It's new. I did that on purpose because other people like had different like names that were very similar. And I was just
Mhm.
like, I put two S's on both sides and then it's.
Yeah, so see, now I won't forget, because once I saw, I was like, oh, it's double S. I got that. I'm like, I got it now.
Yeah.
For sitting down with me. I hope your whole, hotel situation fixed itself.
After I plunged the toilet.
Yeah, see, once I got that bill, it'd be like minus maintenance fee.
Like, can I get a refund?
I like, because I work here now. I should be able to do this for free.
Right. Exactly.
Well, thank you for sitting down with me today. I hope you have a very successful rest of the day and week. And I'm looking forward to meeting you in person and we
Yes,
sitting down having a cigar and chilling.
definitely. Hit me up.
I certainly will. Now that I know when you're home, I certainly
Okay.
will.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Have a great day.
All right. Bye.